Well, it's a beautiful late summer day. I guess it's late summer. Still, yeah, I guess kind of. It's August. Still early August. The end of summer, September 21st officially. But yeah, I just went and helped the church load some groceries for the food drive. That makes you feel good to help and do stuff, you know. It's important to be involved with your community. But before that, I was having problems with my phone, and I spent a long time, a couple of hours talking to customer service people, and they didn't have good information. And for most of the time, I was just patient as I could be with them. And I got one person who I was having a hard time communicating with, and the right thing for me to have done would have been just to say thank you, for your help, but I'll try to figure it out some other way, and to have hung up. And if I needed to talk to the customer service people again, I could have just then called them again, because that was going nowhere. And of course that takes time, because you got to wait on hold and all those sorts of things. But I got upset with that person, and in hindsight, I could tell myself, hey, you should have just said, okay, this is enough. You're not getting any help with this person. Just, hang up and call again, and you'll get somebody else. And eventually I did do that, and I did get somebody that was much more helpful. But the trick is to not allow yourself to get upset with situations like that. That customer service representative was just doing the best she could. It's her company could train her better, or maybe she's new. But it was a problem that nobody could really solve very well. None of them knew the appropriate answer to the problem. So, I still haven't really actually solved it. So, there's some frustration there, but the key is it's normal, it's natural. You can't get too mad at yourself when you do things that you don't want to do. Basically, I just got really upset and I yelled at her. And I'm sure that stuff happens, and I really try hard not to do that. And that's not too abnormal for people to do that. Frustration builds and builds and builds, but there's people who never could get upset like that. They know how to keep their cool and their patience, and it's something that we develop. And you can learn ways to do that, to try and calm yourself down. But the trick is you got to train yourself to to be able to do those things in the heat of the moment. To be able to breathe, to refocus your mind, to have patience. Your mind, they can see it in brain scans. They know when a person's getting upset. There's a part of your brain, it's not really in your conscious part of your brain, that starts to get a lot of blood flow, and it has a purpose. It's not that it doesn't have a purpose. It does have a purpose, and nature has given us that for a reason. But in our modern society, it's not the best way to interact with people. So you have to tamp it down by training your conscious mind. You got to make your conscious mind strong in order to control your emotions. And you can do that with mindfulness and self-awareness. And the more you practice those things when you're young, the stronger your mind is for those situations. And also, it's important to know, on the other flip side, that everybody is at different levels. There's like a spectrum of everything. Some people are just so docile, it's unbelievable. And then some people have such a short fuse. You really want to be careful with those people, and you can be understanding of them. They don't all have bad intentions. Some of them do, but a lot of them, it's just the way they're wired. And if they're like that, you need to know to, you guys just gotta learn with time how to deal with that. And then most of us are somewhere in the middle. And if the middle is exactly average, I used to, I think, be more to the right of average. I used to have more of a short fuse than, I've never had an extremely short fuse, but I think with time and age will do that too. But it will calm you down and make you a more mellow person. So, I mean, I went for a long time before I got upset. And so I definitely don't have a terribly short fuse, because it was like, it's over an hour before I got upset. And it was partly because of the kind of the way that the representative kept just telling me the same thing over and over again, rather than saying, I don't know. But I don't know. It's not an excuse, but it's a lesson. And it's important for people to share those lessons with other people, so that we don't all feel like, oh, we're all bad and it doesn't ever happen to anybody else. Trust me, most people end up in situations like that where we lose our temper. But it can be really dangerous too, because when we lose our temper, that means we're starting to lose control of our conscious actions. And that's when people can do some really bad and dumb things that hurts everybody around them. And so, even though there was no real harm done there, I don't even think the customer service representative was really upset about it. I mean, I wasn't that harsh. You kind of comes with the territory of that's a tough job, being a customer service rep on the phone like that. It's like being a waiter or a waitress too. The better you get at it, the less times you get an upset customer. Customer service in general, whether it's on the phone or in your business, it's a very tricky thing, and it's a skill that gets learned. People get better at it, and it goes both ways. If you're really good at it, customers are very appreciative. If it's average, people just expect the average, and if it's below average, people can get really upset, and you'll see it all through life. So it's not. We all know that happens, but it's better to really focus on the lesson of learning better self-control, because that's really what's going to help us as human beings. Anyhow, I just want to share that. Practice your mindfulness and your self-awareness and your ability to recognize other people, and to figure out how to move beyond a situation, where there's not going to be any better result. So, if that customer service rep in that situation knew the one thing that she knew, and she didn't know any of the other answers, then I should have just said, hey, she doesn't know. And I did ask her to transfer me to somebody else, and she wouldn't do that for some reason, which I think might be because of the way that it teaches you something about business, because I think she might have been scared to do that because she didn't want a bad review. So maybe like if she had to hand me off to another rep, which I asked her to do a few times. I also asked her to, they were also supposed to be able to talk to another company, and she wouldn't do that for a long time. So there were some things there where maybe she felt like either her company hadn't trained her on what to do, or that she felt like it would be looked at poorly by her company, which also is a real lesson about how you organize people. And you can put people in a situation where, like, by giving them a situation where they have to account for certain metrics of their performance. And if you don't allow for them to say, hey, I can't do that well, let somebody else do it, you can mess up your organization. It's what's called organizational behavior. So you got to be careful about that too. If you're a leader of people, and making sure you think through what situations a person might not make the best decision, because you've put restraints around their ability to make good decisions. The U.S. military is an example of a successful organization who kind of changed that around military. One of the things about the American military was that we adopted a much more fluid way of management. So people have in the U.S. military, soldiers have much more room to make decisions at lower levels than what's been traditional with militaries, and it's been a very successful approach. So that's just an example, but it's all through business and everything else. It depends on the business and depends on lots of things. I love you, and you have a wonderful day. Enjoy nature, practice your mindfulness, and breathing helps with that. You can calms the mind. I love you.